All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's right. It's time for ConserVengers. It has been far too long. It is episode number 9. We've got a great cast for you today, so start sharing this out there. We're going to have some fun. We've got Suni, the middle child, Casey, Blake, and of course, Bobby Sauce is in the building with all of his different fun characters, I'm sure. And we're going to be talking about, speaking of fun characters, we're going to be talking about some jabronis in office, as well as things on television. We're going to talk a little bit about the Grammys. We're going to wonder how the hell Cuomo still has his job. It's proper grammar. Fantastic. Great way to start. Stacey Abrams, because we know that Suni loves talking about comparisons to Jim Crow laws. We're going to be talking about Stacey Abrams. And then, you know what? It's a little time for Handgate. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Handgate. If you haven't seen the videos on Blake Veglia's page, we're going to talk about what could or could not or potentially allegedly be a green screen. That's coming up on ConserVengers right here in 30 seconds. What's going on, everybody? This is ConserVengers. If you haven't watched this show before, it is a safe space for conservatives where we get to have a little bit of fun, a little bit of comedy, and just have a few laughs at the expense of whatever the hell is going on in this garbage dumpster fire of a country and government. But we find the positives by sharing some laughs. And I'm going to introduce our cast. We've got Suni, the middle child, in the house. Suni, what's going on? God, Suni's so good at talking when she's on mute. It's so fantastic.
I'm ready to talk about Stacey Abrams. I'm just ready.
Love it. Couldn't tell you were ready based on the mute. But hey, you know what? Apparently reparations not for all if you're a conservative black woman in America. Blake Veglia. What's going on, Blake? How you doing?
It's going. I'm here.
Bobby Sausalito, Mr. at Take Naps, the man, the myth, legend himself.
What's the good word? What's the good word?
And of course, our favorite libertarian that likes to sneak his way in here, pretending as though he voted for Trump, even though he did not. Okay, what?
And he's a wigger, by the
way.
Oh, man.
What up, guys?
You can't say that. You just can't. So if you guys can't, do us a favor. Mike, I love that you're wearing the shirt. Love that you're rocking it. Start sharing this out there. We're gonna have a lot of fun in this episode. We gotta start. We gotta start with Blake's topic. We gotta start with Handgate. I like to call it Handgate. Blake doesn't even know what a Handgate is. It's been a long time since somebody didn't use their mouth. So we're gonna.
Why are we calling it Handgate?
I just started that. I don't know.
We should be calling it hand job.
So I'm gonna go ahead and start by saying I am not a believer in conspiracy theories. I like to typically stay away from them. Blake even makes fun of them sometimes with the tinfoil hat. I can't avoid this one. I can't avoid it because I was a graphic designer. I did video design. I did all these different things, and I can look at this and say there's something wrong with it. Blake, go ahead and talk about the video that you put up earlier. I'm going to go ahead and throw it up there as well while we're watching.
Okay.
And
so I was watching this and I caught a clip of it on a news station, an actual news station that wasn't like Fox or anything like that, but they were reporting on what Joe Biden was doing with the border crisis, yada, yada, yada. And I watched the clip and I was like, hold the F up. And then I zoomed in and I was like, this is not real. And like, I got the raw video and then Washington Post posted the same video from a different angle. And I was just like, this isn't happening. And it really, like, I also obviously doing video editing and stuff like that, the dimension and like the level of depth perception is off. Like his hand is going where an object, like it should be bumping into an object. And it's if something's closer to the screen, so like my hand, it's bigger. It should not be bigger as it's further away and then go through a person. It just shouldn't.
No, No, it shouldn't. I'm going to go ahead and play it, and then we can all talk about it real quick. Let me bring it up. Dun, dun, dun. Which it was already, by the way, it was already a super weird, like quick press conference where he was walking awkwardly. They like scrolled in to show that Jen Sakidaki was in the background. Like nothing made sense about the whole video, but I want to play the one that you actually had up, Blake.
President Biden sets the tone.
Of course, it's already
President
playing
of the United
awkwardly on my
States signed 2
computer.
executive orders
Why
aimed
is
to
it
promote
start
gender
doing that? All right, there we go. Ready? Let's go keep doing this again.
Watch. Rate his hand and then dimension, and then it's behind. Wait, what?
It makes zero sense. Watch
That
it again.
did not happen.
Bobby, I know you're the least of us in terms of. I mean, we're all non-conspiracy theorists, but what are you seeing here?
Well, okay. Let's try to frame this for a second. I think what's a conspiracy theorist anyway is I don't want to downplay the true value and nature of that word, of that phrase, and what it really means. A conspiracy theorist is a way that everybody seems to label people that just question whatever is the consistently served narrative. So everyone should be a conspiracy theorist. A person that questions information could be a conspiracy theorist. So I wouldn't consider myself to be not that. But what I would say is like, I think that we have to remember that if these people were able to fortify this election and basically goose the entire planet, including Donnie, who was playing 700-dimensional upside down underwater chess, and he's the smartest man the world has ever known in the history of time. Has anybody ever considered that maybe this is pointless, has absolutely no reason, and this is just a complete distraction to get us to talk about something that has absolutely no purpose whatsoever? What if this is a trap? What if they did this on purpose to fucking waste our time so we talk about some dumb shit that doesn't matter? What if they took a real, actual video and just superimposed that microphone at the end to make it go behind his hand so everybody wasted their time talking about this shit that has absolutely no purpose, no significance, no reason to put him on a green screen? Who even fucking cares? Meanwhile, there's 1,000 other horrible things happening. To me, this looks like they superimposed the mic at the last minute, put it out on all these mainstream articles as just a fucking trap to get everybody bullshitting and following along this line. And then they made all of these news articles about Tito Ortiz tweets it and all this stuff. Meanwhile, no one's paying attention to things that actually matter. I think this is a trap. I think they did this on purpose, and I think that they just got us a fucking again. That's just my thought.
Blake, do you have the see, to me, this is a complete distraction. I couldn't agree more. However, there's something like this is super fucking weird. And Blake has a clip. You have a clip from C-SPAN, don't you? Or was that Casey? Who had C-SPAN?
I don't have C-SPAN.
But what's the purpose? But why? Like, okay, so let's pretend that it is. Why? What did they gain? What is?
I mean, I think it's showing. I want to know, like, as an American public, the fact that we have not had a president, we have not had our president speak in front of the country is mind-boggling. Like, truly speak, when he spoke in front of the podium, he has not answered a question to a single reporter in weeks. Something is fucking weird about that, and I don't know.
Why I think it's important and significant is the fact that I think the left so badly wants to be able to say that Joe Biden has had a press conference because now millions of Americans out there are asking why they haven't heard from the president of the United States in a way that he's not reading behind a prompter, and the questions are not, technically given to him before he is saying the answers to them. But like, they tried to make it seem like that did occur in this instance, and it actually didn't. And that's what I think what Americans are pissed, and revealing the truth, the fact that the leader of the free world is not actually answering questions to our press. And I think that's important because he's not one talking about topics that he should be talking about. They're asking him what color or what his favorite flavor of ice cream is. So there's no public pressure on this man. He's allowed to hide behind whatever he wants, and he gets away with it because who's holding him accountable? Not our media. Nobody is.
I agree with that completely. However, I think that this hardly constitutes anything that would make anybody be like, well, look, here he is taking half of a question. Like, I agree with you completely, but what did this prove? I mean, this is their they go through this, they create this CGI video of a fake Joe Biden walking up to a microphone, not answering a question, to be like, look, here's this video. I mean, it doesn't make the purpose to me doesn't seem clear. So to me, this seems like a trap to distract us. I don't see any purpose. I don't see what they gained by doing this other than taking everybody off the trail of things that actually matter.
So I
Go
see
ahead,
where
Casey.
you're coming from in this whole scenario is when we're talking about a trap. Like it's a trap. Like, but when we're looking at this, like we have to. The only way we can actually go back and say is this really a trap is after letting time pass, right? So that's where I see. Yeah, I get what you're saying. We'll have to see what's passing. Like one of my things that I'm paying very close attention to is HR 8 and HR 1447. Those are close bills that will probably pass the Senate, and if they go through, and that could be hidden by stuff like this. So I get it. But there also is a reason to expose it at the same time so people can actually see it.
Mhm.
And us that actually have experience in editing videos and doing stuff like you suck. Like, how did you do this? But it's still a good thing to bring up and talk about so we can highlight it for others, but not completely distract. That's what I'm trying to say is it's a valuable thing for others to actually see.
That's fair.
So, are we actually? To me, it's like, are we hoping that they really did make such a drastic mistake? Because now we're starting to see like other people are bringing footage up. But the thing is, you're right, Bobby. What do we gain from that? And I really don't know. I don't know what the gain is, except for the fact that it's like maybe to me the gain could potentially be that maybe some people on the left will start seeing that like, okay, maybe these people aren't crazy. Like I don't know who could watch this and not think something is wrong.
I think the video is real and the microphone is fake. Personally, I think that the entire video is real, other than the microphone.
I think the video is real too. I think we agree on that. I think that it was shot up on a green screen and it was a setup question by audio. That's what I think by seeing it. I think it was set up so that they could send this out to these C-SPANs of the world and just let it ride. Go ahead and press play, Suni.
I'm saying that the only part of this video that's fake is the microphone. Every part of it is real. He's outside in the lawn walking up to real reporters. I think that part is real.
I don't know. It's hard to do a bottom line on C-SPAN like that.
Well, look at the fluff around that microphone, though. It looks weird.
Talking about distraction, look who the hell's in the background.
It's a Jabberwocky.
I mean, I don't know. Like this stuff to me, like
Oh, I didn't even see that. I didn't see that person over there.
like what are they? Who is that? And what are they? And they probably have a diaper on their face. But my thing is that the reason to show out the non-transparency of media in general, like I think the biggest thing we should be talking about right now, and it's not getting the attention that it deserves, but the Washington Post and them lying and coming out and making a whole completely fabricated story and it coming out and being completely false. All they said was, I'm sorry. And like these 76% of Democrats trust the mainstream media. So in order to wake these people up, we have to get them away from this and to show them shit like this. We're like, hey, you believe everything you see on TV? Well, here you go. Or, hey, remember when you said Washington Post was a reliable source? Well, here you go. It's clearly not. And we can fact check all these places, Fox, CNN, MSNBC, CBS, any of them. And I just think I think like just pointing out the discrepancies across our media is important and just showing that you can't always believe the things that you read and all the things that you see on TV. And people think like, oh, well, you can't read everything. You can't believe everything you see on the internet. Well, you can't believe everything you see on your TV. And until people realize that and realize that there's so much technology out there today, it's just whack to me.
I would think that it's probably likely that they used that video and they were just like, let's clearly mess up and put some fake microphones in there to distract from the much bigger story, which is just like you said, which is the Washington Post story. It's like, meanwhile, everybody's talking about this, except for the one thing that's like 1,000 times more significant. And even though I do definitely agree that it's important to point it out, I think it's a trap. I think that they saw that clearly and I don't think that they messed that up. I honestly think that was done by design. From the first second I saw it, I'm like, that's way too obvious.
It's like the Cuomo stuff going on right now. So everyone's like sex scandal, sex scandal, sex scandal. Like that's all they're talking about. And the reason I posted this today on Telegram, the reason that they're talking about it, the sex scandal, and that's why he's going to resign and yada, 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 is because if Governor Cuomo is fired because of sex scandals, it distracts from the fact that thousands of people were killed in nursing homes due to his executive orders. So that would help. That would hold Whitmer accountable. That would hold Wolf accountable, and that would hold Rachel Levine, which is our health our director or vice president or whatever. It would hold all of those people accountable, and they would all go down with him. But they're distracting from the fact that that didn't occur and not talking about it. And now they're talking about these sex scandals, which may or may not be true, and they cannot prove it. But he may or may not resign because of that, not because he killed thousands of people with his regulations. And it's all about optics. It's all about distraction. It's all about the things that, it really doesn't matter. Like Suni brought up today, like, Biden keeps poking the bear with Russia. He keeps saying like Putin's a killer, yada, yada. And then they talk about North Korea. And Suni brought up a good point. She said the more they talk about them, the more we need to look at China. Because what the hell is China doing that they're trying to distract us with releasing this intel report how Russia and Iran try to influence the election. And not
Did you say election? I heard erection.
It's like the first thing that comes out of my mouth. I don't know.
Usually it's the first thing. Never mind.
But it literally, the intelligence report came out and said it was just Russia and Iran. It had nothing to do with any other country, China. It had nothing to do with Italy, like none of that stuff. It is. It's all optics and distraction.
I want to be distracted for one more second because I do think I think it's comical. I think it's comical when you look at some of the stuff that's out there, but then because we constantly talk about fact checking and how the fact checkers are all bought and paid for, and then they talk about Snopes and we talk about Politico. Now we actually are talking about Newsweek has a fact check that I wanted to bring up that was on this, and literally I'm going to read it and then I'm going to do a basic look at it because it's absolutely absurd. So fact check, the way they explain it is absurd. Was Joe Biden video filmed in front of a green screen? ? Speculation has erupted over Joe Biden with the claim that the president used a green screen in an interaction with the press circulating online Wednesday. Biden briefly met with reporters on Tuesday, said he was leaving for the White House for a visit to Chester, Pennsylvania, yada, 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 Mexico. Before Biden made his way toward Marine One and South Lawn heading out to promote his COVID bill, he was asked about the situation on the U.S. border with Mexico. When one of the journalists asked, do you have any plans to travel? Biden replied, not at the moment. Oh my God, why does it all of a sudden start playing? This is the worst, whatever that app is. All right, go ahead back. The president briefly addresses reporters in the clip, but his appearance has prompted many to question. So first off, they put a whole bunch of fluff that did not matter beforehand. So people are just automatically reading this like, I don't know, let's see what's going on. So they show these two microphones at a different angle, which again, these are angles. It doesn't matter what you're showing here because what we saw on video, like live video matters. That should be a new t-shirt. Live video matters. The claim is some people are saying that Biden's short interaction with reporters was fabricated and that it was filmed in front of a green screen. Particularly a number of people on Twitter claiming it, as we've already known about. Aubrey Huff was talking about the hands, the exact same video that we saw. They've shown other angles as well. Tito Ortiz, as we said. The Hill actually played this as well. Did his hand travel? So one person tweeted, did his hand travel through the mic at the bottom of the screen? Anyone else see that? Another added, okay, at first I thought these people were crazy. Then I caught that at 11 seconds. The microphone is literally inside of his sleeve. He's not actually standing there. Number of consumers, commenters disagreed. Let's go ahead and get to the facts. Facts. The Washington Post published a clip of the moment from another angle where a visual anomaly does not occur. That's actually where it does occur, which is ironic that they're still showing this photo below it. The side-by-side of the two angles filmed together show that the angle that caused the confusion is due to perspective of the camera. Blake also has this as well. This is just a single frame. Notice that usually they will show video to prove it. This actually is right before his hand swipes again through the microphones. So they're actually showing these things that actually have no proof to actually claim to corroborate their claim. Right. So the fact that the green screen was used is not compatible with how green screens work. CGI images are added behind the individual, not in front. The ruling false, without ever truly providing anything but a single frame of a photo that makes them feel better. To me, this is what's interesting, is the fact check that cannot prove it and just slams it as false. To me, that's important. Bueller, anybody?
I'm important.
I think that I just think that we have to try to remember the big picture, which is that, like, okay, if we think that Joey Basement and this cohort of people that are like the most corrupt, insane, psycho, anti-American, most destructive force to ever exist in American history, that basically stole an election, that basically got this China supporting, ruining guy, that are destroying every single thing, that got every single media outlet to conspire and changed all these election laws and managed to convince all of the high courts to throw out every single lawsuit. And they are so intertwined that they've been working on this for years and years and years and years and years and years, that they would make such an obvious and blatant mistake without doing it intentionally. I'm saying they did this intentionally. This is a trap. I'm saying this is a purposefully done distraction. They are way smarter than I think we're giving them credit for. They did not just not see this. That's just my thought.
I get it, but I mean, we're talking about the other stories, but we're human beings. We can talk about it for 15 minutes. It's not taken away from anything. Like, why would they make such a blatant mistake? Like, why would they do? Because something like this to me. Go ahead, Suni.
So I'm just gonna say it. I don't care. I'm a few shots in. Why not? This is ConserVengers. This is to directly attack, number one, Trump supporters and Q. Let's just call a spade a spade. They know that Q supporters, I don't care if you're a Q supporter on here tonight, okay? I'm calling a spade a spade. They know that you are going to jump on it. They know that you're going to blow it up.
Yep.
And this is what happens. This is what happened at the Capitol because people went there and acting a fool. Let's not act like it didn't happen. There were some people there acting a fool. What did they do? They labeled all Trump supporters QAnon because Q was there. So now we got this video. I don't think that they make fuck-ups like this. I think it's funny. I think it's hilarious. Like when I was watching it, I'm like, this is funny. And you know, it's crazy. When we were behind the stage, I don't know who asked the question, but it said, does this give validity to Q? And I think it was Blake. He said yes and no. It gives validity to both. But it gives them more rope to hang themselves with.
Yep, it gives them false hope, but then it gives, I think this video does good and bad. Bad, it gives the QAnon, like they say it's CGI, yada, yada. And then you have also the general public, which I think is good for a wake-up moment, like, oh, like you can't really trust everything you see on TV. So I think it's a good learning experience, and I think everyone should take it as a learning curve in regards to the fact that you can't believe everything you see on TV, and not everything that we're shown is exactly what is actually happening.
Sure.
And it scares me to think about all the shit we are seeing, and we're impacted so like emotionally as American citizens. Like right now, we're all kind of like feeling like, what the hell is going on? And I can only imagine how we'd feel if we actually knew what was going on, and we don't. And there's so much stuff going on right now. Like, I can't even keep up. And I feel like every day I wake up, more and more of our freedoms are being taken away or voted to be taken away. And what do you do moving forward? Because they have a Senate majority, they have a House majority, and the president wants to get rid of the filibuster. So what do? They have complete control, complete and utter control.
And we're adding immigrants that are allowed to vote. We're adding the chances of conservative.
Not just vote. In California, illegal immigrants now can hold positions, literally hold positions, and they already are.
It's crazy shit.
What happens when they? So the freedom of speech, pretty much with all this cancel culture, is almost gone. I mean, we've all experienced censorship. We know what it's like to be able to. We can't voice our opinion. So like Casey posted today, when the Second Amendment was created, when the First Amendment is violated. So. I mean, what do you do when they're coming? They are literally coming after our Second Amendment. What do you do? I mean, what do we do?
Lock and load.
So
I'm interested to hear what you think moving forward. Where the hell do we go from here?
Who's that?
Bobby. I want to know like where he thinks we're going to go forward from here.
What do you think the next steps are, Bobby? Then I'm going to talk about talking to Cash earlier today about because he's been with all of the people arrested in. He's been with all of the people arrested in who's he in DC. So where do you think we go from here, Bobby?
Well, can we narrow the question? Where do we go from here as it relates to what?
Okay, so where do we go from here in relation to? Okay, so all of these bills that are being passed, all the laws that are being implemented, and all of our elected officials, and our I mean, truly, our election process in general, if we can't vote these officials out, so how do we go forward?
I think that kind of like a lesson that really made the most difference to me in business, I think applies here, which is that in any given day, there's like 100 fires to put out, but the ability for a leader to identify what are the highest priority items where you can move the needle the most and the furthest first is like a huge part of leading. So my thought would be to focus on the things that are going to make the most impact the quickest. So like, that's why like things like this frustrate me in a way, because it's like, even if it was a green screen, and not to belittle the attention that it deserves, it's just that like there's like we're tripping over dollars to pick up pennies, you know. So I think that prioritizing the highest items, the highest important items with this very limited amount of time is the priority. So what is the main priority? I think that the border is a huge priority. How do we fix it in terms of the voting? Well, all I know is that like we have a midterm election that comes up in 2 years. There's a recall that's supposedly going to happen in California. I think rallying around and supporting those causes is a good initial step. But as far as doing anything about impeding the ability for those votes to happen right now, I don't know what there is to do other than to try to prioritize the highest important items.
So how I feel, Bobby, is that we're at that point where, I mean, I live in Ohio, and my gas price has increased by $1.36 since he's taken office. I mean, eventually America, we only can bend so much. We have elections, we go through it every 4-8 years, yada, yada. But I mean, so much has been done in such little time. Like, we're to the point where we're about to bend and we're going to break. At some point, it has to give, because all of these executive orders, we're focusing on things that really are not going to benefit our country. We're talking about transgendered rights when there are literally people dying in hospitals across the country. There are people who are going hungry. There are kids that are not being fed. There are kids that are being sex trafficked. I mean, we're not focusing on any of the big things that we need to be focusing on as a country. And we're just trying to, in a way, all they're doing is taking more and more of our rights away. So my question is like, okay, we can go rally. Okay, here's my thing. Here's what I'm going to say. We can go rally behind Newsom getting recalled. It is not going to matter until our voting and how we vote in this country is regulated. And they're literally passing laws to make the same shit that happened in November occur every election. And they're going to pass it because they have complete control. And it's actually they're going to vote on it soon. So my question is, what do you do when they implement all those things? It doesn't matter what we do, who we rally behind, who we vote for, because we're not in control. The American people are no longer in control. The government is running the country. The American people are not running the government. That governs the country.
Yeah, I wish I had a good answer, but the only thing that I can think of is I think that the only thing that ever changes anything is large masses of people understanding something to be true. I don't know that there is any other solution other than mass awareness. I think what we're doing is in a sad way like the only thing we can do, because unfortunately we're kind of a little late. And I think that, we kind of got. I mean, I wasn't pressing on this 2 years ago. I was like, Donnie's in control. We're doing it. Yeah, this is great. So it's like, I didn't have any voice of any reason before. And like now, I think all of us have a lot more of a platform now than we did 24 months ago, 12 months ago, probably even 6 months ago. So I think that, we can't be upset or frustrated that we weren't able to be there all this time. But what we can do going forward is do the absolute best that we can to spread as much awareness of all this garbage that's coming day by day, week by week, and just do like literally exactly what we're doing. I don't know. I wish I knew a better answer. All I know is that mass awareness is the only way that this changes, and convincing people that are quote unquote on the other side or in the middle that could be pulled over through some way, whether it be humor or entertainment or constant information. I don't know that there is any other way other than that.
Right. I agree with you. I think awakening people is important, but at the same time, no matter the thing is, and I think now more than ever, I saw it across the country. I was traveling across the country during this whole time. Like I went all over, and I saw so much support for Donald Trump, like more motivation, more outcry, more we need to save our country than I've ever seen in political history. And do I think that he didn't win? I don't agree with that. I think he actually won because of just the enthusiasm I saw across the country and how passionate people, not only his base of supporters, but how many people truly agreed with his policies and how they directly impacted his life. So I would say a majority of this country believes Donald Trump won. So my question is, we know that, and it still failed. And that's a mass of people. I mean, millions. You have to think over probably, if you count like the people who aren't able to vote, who are not of age, there's probably over 110 million avid Trump supporters in this country. And that's almost 1/3 of the country that are avid Trump supporters.
I got to play devil's advocate real quick, Casey, because one of the things Bobby said is we have to continue to do these on a small scale, whatever our small scale of 200 people, 500, 700 people watching. It's something. It's creating awareness. So then I want to go back to what could be considered what we're looking at as a mistake, which is this whole hand gate that I'm calling it. And I know it could be considered a distraction, or could it have been us getting lucky to start making people think? Our whole purpose is to get people to think. And although it is something stupid like a CGI screen, it's these moments that if our main goal is to create awareness of what's going on and that we're all getting got and we're all getting fucked with in the head, to me, this is one of those opportunities where we go, guys, this is proof that not everything you see is real. And I know that it's cheesy and we're just going over these hands and whatever, but to me, this is a big deal if it wasn't on purpose. And I know a lot of people, and I know you said, Bobby, like nothing like this doesn't happen on purpose. Like they don't make mistakes like this, but in the world that maybe they do, like this could be a very big deal where there's got to be some group of people that look at this and go, maybe I'll start doing a little bit more research. I don't know. Maybe something's a little off. Maybe I don't believe C-SPANs and the MSNBCs. Maybe I don't believe it anymore. I don't know. To me, it's important to harp on stuff like this because it creates questions.
No, and Anthony, what you're saying is true. But here's the part. Like, let's not focus on what has existed. We just want to highlight it, right? But that is one of the things that I accidentally pulled up. I wasn't intending to right away, but I want to share this with everyone. If everyone has seen this clip from Bug's life,
careful. We've been getting hammered lately on
censorship,
copyright clips.
What do you want me to do? Do not play it?
I don't know. What is it?
I think a lot of people. I think a lot of people have seen that clip.
Yes.
So mostly what this clip means is they're talking about a few grasshoppers around a bar style, and like handful of them. And if all the ants stand up and go after them, they outnumber them 1,000,000 to 1. That is what we need to do as Americans. That's what we are given as rights. I understand voting is difficult right now because we don't have a whole lot of faith in that process. But as long as we are still uniting together, it's going to come together. It will. And that's where there is a little bit of mindset that comes into this play. If you're going to be the mindset of I'm always down, I'm always going to feel like things are upsetting, then you're going to always feel that way. But if you are all with the people that are always seeing the right things, that we're going to solve this, we're going to solve it, because that is how we do it in this country, is we come together. And that's where I agree with what Bobby's saying is I see exactly what he's saying. This is probably a play just to get us distracted 100%. Like when Blake messaged me that, I was in the middle of a meeting for work and I'm like, holy shit, like really they're this dumb. But I also see what you're saying now. It's too obvious. And I agree. But overall, we just got to highlight it and then make sure that we're focused on the end goal, which is correcting the where we want to be. But Suni hasn't said a whole lot.
Huh?
Yeah, go ahead.
It bothers me when I see people get so angry and outraged now, when I've been watching this country go down in flames for years. You know, ever since I was like 18, 19, like we've been watching this stuff happen, and people have just been idly sitting back chilling, like, let's just call it space. Everybody's been chilling. The only reason that people are awake now is because of Trump. So you know what? Now's the time to do your work. Half of the world, half of the country and the world is brainwashed. It's brainwashed. We're not going to wake people up in a few months in 4 years, maybe it'll take 2, 3, 4 presidential cycles before people wake up and see what's actually going on. This is us laying the groundwork to call out the bullshit. That video's BS. We all know it. Their constituents know it. Joe Biden hasn't talked to the press. He hasn't made an address to the nation. Kamala Harris is making all of his appearances talking to world leaders. 25th Amendment is coming. How do we deal with 4 years of 2 women being in a presidential seat? I think that's where we need to be at now. How do we deal with that? Because they're gonna fuck shit up, bro. Pandora's box is being opened as we speak. We know that this government is corrupt. How do we go forth and fix it? The only way we do that is by talking. And it's going to take a long ass time for people to wake up. I know this for a fact because I was once one of those brainwashed Black people that felt like the world was against me. I didn't just wake up one day and say, oh shit, it's all a lie. I had to constantly listen to people tell me, and I would argue. I would argue and try to prove them wrong till I felt stupid. Like, I'm just sitting here arguing with you and I'm not listening to what you're saying. It's up to the person to wake up and take in what we're saying. Some people will, some people won't. But this is the job. What we're doing right here, this is it. I'm just, look, people, you got to stop complaining. Stop complaining and do something. How long are we going to whine about the government? Just do something. That's where I'm at. You're muted. Can't talk shit about me anymore.
Oh, I will keep talking.
Bitch. Son of a bitch. I want to move over to Stacey Abrams. Before we do, I know there's some people wondering. I did talk to Cash today. I know a lot of us have been talking to Cash. He was telling me, because he is in D.C. with all of the quote unquote insurrectionists right now. He's the only white or only Black guy, by the way.
Look at
he's
that.
also got the least amount of charges out of the people he's with. He has actually become friends with Zip Tie Guy, and I haven't told Bobby yet this, and I don't know if Casey was on earlier. So he's become friends with Zip Tie Guy. Everybody else there, he thinks, like, not everybody else, most of them he thinks are batshit crazy. He's like, holy shit. And I said this last night on Truth Will Set You Free, but he is literally like, I didn't know there was this many crazy fucking Trump supporters. He's like, Antifa might have been there, but there's some assholes that were there that were big Trump supporters. But the Zip Tie Guy is an interesting story. So the Zip Tie Guy, apparently he was there with his mom, and some guy saw what he was wearing or whatever and was a instigator, and also not, by the way, not arrested with them. He was in the building, not in this group of people. And he had a bunch of zip ties, and he goes, bro, take these on just in case we gotta tie people up and rope them up or whatever it was. And he legit put it on his belt because he thought it looked cool. And I mean, that's such mind-boggling mind fuckery that it's such a setup that it's kind of crazy to me. So,
bro, that's the point. That's what I'm trying to say is, like, they are winning the intelligence game, whether we want to admit it or not. They are outsmarting the shit out of every person on what we would consider to be our side or whatever. It's all this red blue bullshit, but they are winning for sure, and they're outsmarting us times a million. That was a fucking trap, and as much as I hate to admit it, it's like Donnie should have known that. He teed everybody up to get trapped, and we got gassed, and now all these people are in prison. And you know who's not in prison? Hillary, Podesta, all the people that really should be, all the theoretical fucking people that are so bad and evil and very bad and doing all these horrendous, horrible, terrible things. Well, they're sitting pretty, eating fucking steaks, and the people that were supporting Donnie are in the clink. And I think that this is just further alludes to the fact that they are clearly destroying us on the intelligence game. That's just pure. I mean, how obvious is that? It's like it was a trap. I remember when I was in DC walking around, I remember just thinking to myself, wait a second, a month and a half ago, there was all these people around here, and I saw 1,000 videos of antiqueefs instigating with people all day long. I'm out in the street all day, 2 days in a row. I didn't see a single one. I didn't see a single agitation. And I'm like, this is too good. They fucking know. that you only got to hit them in one place at one moment, and it will do all of the work for you. They outsmarted the shit out of everybody, and I learned that point blank by being there. And I'm like, like they're outsmarting us left, right, up, and down. They fortified the election. They got every single thing behind them. They got all the money. They got all the power. They can demonize and destroy anybody at a moment's notice. They got the mob. They got the unintelligent people to get locked up. They got the supposedly intelligentsia. They got them all in the bag. They got the schools. They got the kids. They got control of the house. I mean, they got it all. I mean, literally, they are kicking our fucking ass. So it's just like, that's why I see this video, this microphone, and I'm like, yo, you're not gonna get me again, motherfuckers. Like they're not that stupid. That's what I'm saying. Like they're fucking getting us, and we're over here dicking around. Like again, I don't mean to downplay it. Like,
no, you're good.
I'm just saying, like that's the thing that I see when I saw that thing. I saw that video first. I'm like, fuck, like this is gonna get everybody off the fucking trail. You know, they're masters at that. And you know what else they're masters at sloganeering. They're so good at sloganeering. They're so good at manipulating words and emotions. They got everybody in the bag. And quite frankly, if you were looking at it as an objective outside person, you'd be like, people on the right are dumb. People on the left are educated. That's it. That's how you'd look at it, because we're getting goosed left, right, up, and down, and they're beating us in the intelligence game times 1,000. And we think that we have more power because we have guns and dudes that are buff and all these other things, all the things that are associated generally with the right, and like, you know, patriotism and all this nonsense. And like, that's right. But like, they're winning us. They're beating us on paper. They're beating us intelligence wise. And they don't give a shit how big you are, because if they could get you locked up, your size is irrelevant. And that's what I'm saying, is like, they're goosing us like left, right, and center. And it's, to me, it's like, it's so obvious at this point that it's like, it's really frustrating.
Yeah. And I can't remember what it was. I think it was after the election. There was something that they were kind of like, oh, it was when they were doing the judiciary hearings over the Capitol. They were clearly, the left was using NLP, which neuro-linguistic programming, the way, and it's a common use of sales and different techniques in terms of speaking and coaching, etc. But the way that they were doing it wasn't to win. It wasn't to win in the hearings. It was to win the American public that was watching, to make them think that whatever they were saying actually held any water whatsoever. And it didn't hold dick. It was bullshit. Like I'm like, if you can listen past the slow pauses and like if you listen past that, the inflection points, it was all bullshit. It was all bullshit.
There's one other thing I want to interject, because this is something that, like, being on the ground in DC that day gave me a good look at. And I remember, it's like, it's weird. Like when you're hyper aware of your surroundings and you're just trying to look to absorb everything, you pick up on little things. I remember when I was walking up to the Capitol at the very end of the day on the 6th, and I remember I saw the gallows that they were talking about, these gallows, which they took a million pictures of. Look, I'm not an engineer. I don't know dick about wood. I couldn't hang a picture on my wall, but I'm not fucking stupid. I saw these gallows. It was 2x4s hung up. You could have never in a million years hung any adult human being from these fucking gallows and fucking hurt a person or injure a person. This thing would have snapped. It was like held together with 2 screws. It was made out of 2x4s. I fucking guarantee you, they fucking planted that shit, got all the photos, and blasted it around the world. I bet you all those Confederate flags that they had were all fucking plants. Every single thing that had great significance that they knew would have impact was fucking planted there. And if it wasn't, then fuck me. But I'm just saying, these people outsmarted the shit out of us. And I looked at this gallows. I'm like, that is nothing more than like, so think about how heavy a gallows would have to be for people to fucking carry it up the lawn and carry it from their car. Think about how big and heavy that would have to be able to support and hang a 200-pound man. Think about how heavy that would have to be able to support that, how fortified that gallows would have to be to actually hang a person and not just be an illusion, just be like, it might as well have been a poster board that had it. But they knew that if there was a picture of it, that it would look like they were trying to hang these dudes. And I would guarantee, I would bet anything that they planted that shit. And that's what I'm saying, is it's just like, they knew, like, if we get a Confederate flag in that building and a picture of it, it's going to be a broadcast across the world. If we put together a fucking hobbled together gallows, no one's ever going to be like, that couldn't hang a man, because then it doesn't matter. All that matters is that they see it. I'm just saying, this shit is a complete mental
Bobby,
game.
Did you walk up that street that day of the during the quote unquote insurrection? Were you on that street where they had the gallows?
Yeah, I walked straight down Constitution. I walked from the speech straight down Constitution Avenue right up to the thing. Yeah.
So did you see the gallows live or just the photos?
Yeah. No, I saw it in real life.
See, I missed the amount of time that I was up near the building and then left, they were gone. So whatever it was there for was strictly for photo. It was for the photograph. 1,000,000%.
That's what I'm saying. It was, dude, it was like a fucking being like there was a gallows, and it's like, no, there fucking wasn't. But like there was. I'm just saying, like they're masters, and they knew exactly how to get the intended result by doing the most minimal. Like they got us upright, left, right, and center, and that's why I'm saying is like I don't bow at the altar of Donnie, because he should have known that shit was going to happen. And he also knew years in advance that they were going to use the mail-in ballot. He knew that way in advance, years in advance. So it's like, I'm like kind of like over the whole idea of like Donnie's playing 500 dimensional chess. It's like, dude, like we got popped, and like this dude knew it ahead of time. He pushed all the juice on everybody. Now he's saying, go get the juice. It's like, he did a great job. Don't get me wrong. But like, can we remember that this dude is infallible, that this dude put his foot in his mouth and tripped over his own shit 1,000 times? And like we need something better than that. Like we got popped, and I'm just saying, it's like, I don't know. The whole thing is just, I feel like we got goosed.
Well, let's get to Stacey Abrams and her racist election laws, and we'll see what else we can cover in a relatively short amount of time. For those of you still watching, I know I was talking to Cash today. I do have some good news. Despite all this, I'm pretty excited to show you guys something. So Kelly's horse had a baby, and we didn't realize it until after the baby was born, you know, what we were going to do. But you guys got to catch a super quick, cute clip of this.
Come on. Follow mama. Watch it. Who, me?
Okay, so anyways, that is the adorable baby horse. Now, what's cool about this is, first off, it's white, which I would find funny for this next part. It also is well hung and large. So we are going to name it, and I told Cash this today. We are naming the horse Cash. So Cash has a namesake of a Palomino horse. He was pretty excited about it. And if anybody remembers Cash from like the very beginning, if you followed him, he actually chased down a horse in his neighborhood. So there's a little spiritual significance. So we now have a well-hung white horse with Cash's namesake on there, and I'm pretty excited about that. I had to. Okay.
Oh, geez.
Needs a positive news. Bobby's like, this is where things go off the rails. All right, let's talk about.
It's just fucking. It's like that's the whole. That's what I've been trying to say is like we have this like high quality panel of people that are highly intelligent on these topics. Where I just think that we're like, it's just like how I get it, but it's just like I don't know.
Comic relief of a horse with a big Jimmy. That's all you need. We needed 2 minutes. All right, let's go to. I don't know what to do with my hands.
Counterproductive to the cause. IMO.
I don't know. Was that Bobby's real hands, or was that his hands going through a microphone? I can't tell.
All right, I'll give you that one.
All right. So I don't know anymore because we're getting hit on every copyright known to mankind if we can even play stuff like this. So I might scroll through the article. Have you guys had any issues playing CNN clips with them taking stuff down? What's your history?
No, I've never had it.
All right, we'll give it a shot. Of course, I probably didn't have the audio because this was like 20 minutes ago. Give me a second just to make sure. And stop screen, share, Chrome, and there we go. Coming in hot.
Home state, Georgia, have introduced almost 24 bills to make it more difficult to vote. They are going to end no excuse mail-in voting, which has been there since 2005. They're going to reduce voting on Sundays, ask for stricter ID requirements, take away drop boxes. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer in D.C., he called this effort by Georgia Republicans, quote, racist, plain and simple, unquote. Do you agree? And is there any way for Democrats to stop these efforts?
Well, first of all, I do absolutely agree that it's racist. It is a redux of Jim Crow in a suit and tie. We know that the only thing that precipitated these changes, it's not that there was a question of security. In fact, the Secretary of State and the governor went to great pains to assure America that Georgia's elections were secure. And so the only connection that we can find is that more people of color voted, and it changed the outcome of elections in a direction that Republicans do not like. And so instead of celebrating better access and more participation, their response is to try to eliminate access to voting for primarily communities of color. And there's a direct correlation between the usage of drop boxes, the usage of in-person early voting, especially on Sundays, and the use of vote by mail, and a direct increase in the number of people of color voting.
And in fact, the Secretary of State, Raffensperger, a Republican, has said that he thinks it's Donald Trump insulting the process that led to so many Trump voters not turning out for the special elections, thus handing the U.S. Senate to the Democrats. We should point out, of course, it's not just in Georgia. Republicans in 43 states are pushing more than 250 pieces of legislation that would make it more difficult for individuals to vote. They say they're doing this for vote security. Arizona Republican State Representative John Kavanaugh told CNN, quote, "There's a fundamental difference between Democrats and Republicans. Democrats value as many people as possible voting, and they're willing to risk fraud. Republicans are more concerned about fraud, so we don't mind putting security measures in that won't let everybody vote. But everybody shouldn't be voting," unquote. What's your reaction when you hear that from a Republican elected official?
Well, my reaction when I hear that from any American is that I'm fundamentally disappointed that they misunderstand our democracy. Our system of government demands active participation from citizens to direct the future of our nation. And we should be deeply disappointed in anyone, any American citizen, and certainly anyone who took the oath of office who seeks to restrict access to the right to vote and uses this false predicate of fraud, which we have seen disproven in multiple courts and by the Supreme Court, as well as by the governors and secretaries of state in almost every state. We know that voter fraud did not happen, but we know that voter participation did increase. And we should all be small d democratic in the sense that we should want as many people as possible who are eligible to have a voice in the direction of our nation. If we are willing to invest our dollars, we should be allowed to have a voice in our system. That was the fundamental premise of this nation. And that's why HR1, SR1, and HR4 are such essential pieces of legislation, because whether it's happening in Georgia, in Arizona, in Pennsylvania, in Kansas, in Iowa, where voter suppression is rearing its head yet again, it is our responsibility to ensure that no matter where you live in the United States of America, the right to vote and the access to that vote is protected.
All right. Well, that's fun. So part of that article was also, it just talks about how she is comparing the need for HR1 is in direct correlation to the way that voting is done today as in comparison to Jim Crow laws. So Suni, I know you love this topic. I know you've got something to show it back to. What are your thoughts about what good old Stacey Abrams just said?
It's insulting. Like, I'm so tired of them using, the black plight and black skin to push forth unconstitutional lies. Unconstitutional laws. She said that this is racist. What black person doesn't have a fucking ID, bro? Like, show me where. You need ID to sign up for any type of state or government assistance. You need an ID to register for school. You need an ID for everything. You need an ID to get in places. Don't tell me black people don't go to clubs, bro. You're tripping. You're tripping, and you keep using fucking Jim Crow. I'm so tired of them using Jim Crow. This is what racist people do. This is what hateful, racist people do. They constantly remind you, look, them Jim Crow, look, they keep pushing these racist laws on you. Look, they don't like you. Look. Bullshit, bro. Look, I put up a video of Jim Crow. There's no sound, it's just footage. Show me. Now, we had Robert come on here and use Jim Crow to push the LGBTQ agenda, and now we got Stacey Abrams using Jim Crow once again, something that's extremely painful and ugly to look at. It's an ugly piece of history, and they keep bringing it up. Why? Where does it say black and white voting? Where does it say black people go here, white people go there? Tell me how somebody getting an ID is racist. Has anybody ever questioned this bitch on what the hell she's talking about? I would love to sit down and talk with these people. What are you talking about? I don't even got my wallet. I got an ID. And it took me like 20 minutes to go get it. I don't get it. Like, I'm just tired. I'm so sick and tired of manufactured bullshit. I'm so sick and tired of them using black skin to push forth stupid ass legislation. And I'm tired of black people letting it go on and then whining about it years later. Well, you know what? You let them do it because you bought into how you're a victim and how the world is racist against you. It's bullshit, bro. These Democrats in office are the Dixiecrats that Malcolm X talked about. Period. Point blank.
Suni, I got a question for you. So they talk about this whole HR1 plan bill. Why wouldn't they be talking about, because there's one issue, if you really want to get into it, that poor white or poor black sometimes, or homeless, whatever, can't afford a driver's license. Some states don't have the free ability to have an ID or any of these things. So why would they not just push for the ability for underprivileged people to be able to get an ID? That's all. Why is that not part of the agenda?
I got a free ID.
Did you?
Your first ID is free. Your first ID is free of charge. If you want to go get an ID, get online. Everybody's got an Obama phone. All you got to do is type in your local ID office, tell them you need an ID, and get your fucking ass an ID. It's free. If you can go buy a dub, you can go get yourself an ID. It's just excuses. I know hella people that will go get a whole gram and then some, and not even go spend it on what they need. So that implies even more racist bullshit that we're not capable to go do it. Yes, we are. It's an active choice that these people in the hood, they don't even give a shit about politics. Number one, they don't give a crap about who the president is, and they damn sure don't give a crap about voting. They don't care.
I'm giving the rhetorical question because A, I agree. B, why wouldn't they just like this whole bill could be easily fixed and just say anybody could get an ID? Because there is states you have to pay for an ID. You might have gotten one free. I know there's states you do have to pay for an ID. So why can't, Utah might be one of them. I think Texas is one of them. Why can't this whole bill could be shortened into, if you cannot afford an ID and you fill out this XYZ paperwork, you get an ID. And we would be done. This would be no questions asked. It'd be over.
They have to push this manufactured BS.
No. Our government doesn't apply logic. You are applying logic. So we need to stop that. Our government does not apply any logic to solve problems. They want to pad their wallets. That is exactly what they want.
But it's our responsibility as people to do this stuff. Yeah. Even the government, fuck the government. They're always going to push BS. They're always going to push fake stuff, fictitious things. But when are Americans held responsible? I'm starting to see more people blame the government instead of us at this point. Like, really? Stacey Abrams, if you really wanted to be a change maker and do something in the community, then go pay for everybody that you say is systematically oppressed and their vote has been suppressed. Go provide an ID for all of them.
True.
If you're not going to do that, shut up.
Yeah. How many people will want to go get a concealed weapons permit but still have a Glock in their pocket?
Al Sharpton, go pay for everybody's fucking ID, bro. You're a millionaire.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Molly is just like over there, just nodding his head. He's just like, whatever.
He knows it's a big joke. It's all bullshit. It's literally our government is set up to. We're set up to fail. Our government is set up to fail for the people because it allows special interests to make more money. Plain and simple. Like all this does, HR1 has stuff cooked into it that is still supplying the ability for them to A, fix the election, and B, make sure special interest makes more money. It's bullshit. Like we are playing, and it's not even Republican or Democrat at this point. We are playing from behind in a race that we can't win and stuff like this.
Look, can you pull that up? Can you pull up Rose Huff? Pull that comment up, please.
What, $10?
It's 10, bro. It's $10 to go get an ID, dog. You ain't got $10?
Someone got $10. Message me on Facebook. I'll send you $10. Good God.
You're gonna be giving a lot of people $10. Somebody said something about the stimulus bill. So if you don't pay taxes, which probably a lot of homeless people or super poor people probably don't, you actually don't get the stimulus bill. Just so you guys know.
Yeah.
Bobby, what's
It's
up?
not helping
You know-
Americans, yo.
You know that I mean you know the answer to these questions. It's like obviously it's not nothing that they say is what it actually is. Every single thing that can't be that has a logical disagreement is just racist because you can't fight it because it's racist. And that fucking piece of shit Jake Tapper, that fucking clown, he should have had a response to that. He's just like, yeah, you're right, it's racist. Like, fuck these people. These people are fucking savage. I swear to God, it's disgusting.
Do you want to know what's so funny? Like I was watching this on a YouTube video I was watching previously, and it's like, yeah, we're gonna just put shit in a bill, but name it whatever we want. It's gonna be fluffy bunnies, and it will pass.
Yep.
Like American Rescue Plan. We're rescuing America. No, we're really not rescuing America with this plan. Does everybody?
Yo, I
know
could
that?
take shots all night, bro. He's like, you got a welfare card. Trust me, I know what it's like. And I know your shit is loaded up. You can go apply for an ID, bro. You can go apply for an ID. I'm going to start asking Black folks questions about these. Do you feel like it's voter suppression that they're requiring ID? Are you not capable of going to get an ID? I want to know how they feel. I want to know how all 92% of the women that voted in ATL were Black. I want to know how the fuck they voted. How did they vote?
Bobby, you're Black.
Sense.
Did you vote?
All the Black people voted, but it's voter suppression to require an ID.
Bobby, do you identify as Black? Because then you could change the numbers that way.
I do. I identify as a dolphin.
This is funny. Somebody put, where is it? Lindsay. She goes, they have rims on their cars, new iPhone. So this is a real story. I was in Cleveland the last time I worked for an auto show. And I remember I was in the lobby with some people that they saw my Be the Change stuff, and they automatically were like, and they were conservatives in my industry, which is very rare. And they were like trying to hold off on political discussion. And I decided to, say screw it. And we started talking, and they're like, oh man, we were afraid to talk to you because we figured Be the Change, liberal and whatever. I'm like, no. So I go into why I feel a certain way, and this big, just muscular, like mid-40s Black dude walks by me, and I, of course, lower my voice because I'm thinking like I'm gonna get in shit. This big dude comes around the corner, comes back, comes back to me, and he's like, bro, and I'm like, oh shit. And he goes, I agree with every fucking thing you said. And I was like, oh, and we ended up having this long conversation. So he owns his own business, and his part of his business, he goes, it's really funny because people think and he goes, I work in the hood a lot. People think I'm just this Black dude that works for this other person's company. And I go into these homes, and a lot of what he had to do was doing work for families that were getting government assistance. And he would go into these government assistant homes, and he goes, this is where I see him. And he goes, my family doesn't respect my political views and why I voted for Trump, why I was planning on voting for Trump a year ago. And he goes, it's mind boggling because we look at it and we go into these homes with 30-something-year-old adult males that legitimately don't have a job, don't leave the house. They're collecting government, and they have rims on their cars, and they've got all these different things. And it's like, he's like, I had to give in. What is it? What am I missing in the comment box?
Nothing.
Did you fart?
No, I didn't have. Kelly, he was moving a chair. They think I farted. I'm laughing at right now.
I thought that was a Swalwell. I thought you Swalwelled.
Oh shit!
Oh my god! He was moving a chair. I swear to God, I did fart during the.
Repeat the sound. If you can't repeat the sound, it was a fart.
Can you repeat the sound, please? Yes, with the chair.
Damn it! I should have muted him right there.
Oh my God, that was good.
Oh man, that was good. Thank you, Kelly. Appreciate that. Yeah. See that,
Kelly?
Bobby? That's comic relief, right there.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm fine with that. But I thought that was a legit Swalwell. I thought you were just like.
I'm like, what are they laughing at? I'm trying to tell a story where I thought I was going to get my ass beat, and you guys think that my ass was expelling. Oh, that's good stuff. All right,
You're
well,
just
we're about
lucky
to wrap-
Blake wasn't here.
I
Hey,
know, Blake.
when is
Blake's-
the last time
What?
anybody stuck a piece of mail in the mailbox? Like when's the last time people actually went to the big blue mail drop box to put some shit in there?
I mean, I do once in a while, but very rarely. But I'll tell you that I put a rent check in there that took.
You don't have a mailbox?
It took 26 days because we wanted to pay online. The guy that we're renting from, he's like,
Do you have a mailbox?
yeah.
Then why
So
would you go
why
to
did you put it?
Yeah, why would
Oh,
you
you mean in the big blue box? All right, never mind. I'm just talking mail in general. But yeah, I'm sorry. Mail sucks. I mean, shit.
I'm going to the corner mailbox. It's like who is doing that?
I
And
know
if you
one
remove
second
it,
here.
you're racist because all black people go to that big blue box to put their votes in.
Yeah.
No one ever.
One of the things that Stacey Abrams was saying is racist is like handing out water bottles and food and shit in the lines for people to vote. And it's like that's there for anyone so that somebody doesn't vote because the very nice lady gave them a bottle of water in the line. Bitch, if you're going to stand in a line for 2 hours and you can't have the foresight to fucking bring a bottle of water, you don't need water, dog. Like, you just fucking wait. Like, it's so obvious. This shit is so fucking stupid. And then there's the one about the boxes. They're like, the boxes have to be outside. And the Republicans were like, just put the boxes inside so we can monitor them. They're like, no, that's racist. They have to be outside and hard to monitor. What the fuck is that? It's not even racist. The shame on pieces of shit like Jake Tapper for just being like, yeah, it's racist. Like, these people are pieces of shit. I can't even. Who the fuck is Stacey Abrams, anyways? Like, no one voted for you. Who is this person? She's not even a person.
Rasputia? That's her name.
What is that?
I'm surprised, like, honestly, when I went to go drop off my mail-in ballot, like, because I didn't vote in person here in Utah because I'm not going to wait 4 hours to vote.
That's racist.
But I'm sitting there looking at, I pull up to the box and I drop things off and I put them in there. And I look at the curb. You know how many tire marks are on the curb because they can't freaking drive? Half the people almost drove over the mailbox. I'm like, are you serious right now?
How'd they get a car if they can't afford to get an ID?
Facts.
It's racist.
God. Anyways, all right, let's wrap it up. Let's do a quick little run through. Anybody want to give a little shout out to Captain Death, the killer governor, aka Mr. Cuomo? Bobby, I know you talk about him a lot.
Yeah,
we've come a long way since nipple piercings, and here we are with Cuomo killing people. So
yeah, what about him? He sucks. Yeah, he's the worst. He's a dehydrated owl. He's a clown.
How is it? So I mean, I voted Democrat on and off in my life, and for the most, I was a lifelong Democrat up until about 8 years ago. But like, I was a fan of Al Franken. Like, I thought Al Franken was a decent guy. I didn't agree with all of his policies, but I thought what he was doing in Minnesota was good. He had a couple sexual harassment charges, and they were very, very light, and he stepped down. He stepped down. He did what he thought, and I was like, God, I thought that was the beginning of cancel culture. And now we're looking at what he is a part of, and he is refusing to step down, and the media is calling him out by just reporting it instead of slamming him. And it's like we are letting one of the most powerful state, that in California, in the country, with two Democratic governors that have destroyed their state. One has actually killed people, one and also has like serious sexual harassment allegations against him. And nobody in the mainstream media really truly gives a shit that he had the opportunity to step down and said no.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Let's just say, like, if the stuff that he did, he really did it. Let's assume that let's pretend that he did or didn't, whatever. Let's just say that he did. If he did, okay, then supposedly this investigation, whatever. I mean, I don't think that anybody necessarily needs to be bullied into stepping down from anything. I mean, if what he did was wrong, that's fucked up. But like, I'm just saying, like, I don't know necessarily that we should be like, he has to step down because of these accusations. I don't support it. Obviously, I think it's wrong, but I don't know that we need to be railing on him to step down for that. I think it's much more interesting and it's much more valid to say that he should step down for the other stuff. The sexual assault stuff is bad, but at the same time, like, some some of the things that they said, like I haven't gone too deep into it because I know it's a distraction. I try to prioritize my time and attention, and I'm just like, there was one where it's like his hand was on the lower back or whatever. And it's like some of them are like, okay, all right, but it's like, does that constitute stepping down? If they actually are doing an investigation, I mean, again, it's like, does that mean he has to step down? I don't know that he should necessarily be bullied, because what if it isn't true? I'm not saying that it isn't. It probably is, but I'm just saying, like, flip it on the other side. If it was somebody else, it's much more valid that he should step down for the other stuff than that, in my opinion. So again, I think it's a distraction to create this narrative where it's like, if you get accused, you have to step down, because they're going to use all of those accusations that everyone's hurling at him next time some Republican gets accused of the same thing, because it's going to happen. It obviously happens all the time. So they're going to be like, look at the hypocrisy. Like, again, I think that all of these things, as much as we hate to admit it, I think they're like 10 steps ahead of us in the vast majority of these cases. And I think that they're using all this stuff and just taking notes to clap us later. That's just my thought.
Suni, go ahead.
Hey, I said this. It's crazy because me and my husband were having this conversation. He's like, it's something when when Hillary gets involved. And it shocked me because I'm like, you are not falling for this right now. I know you saw him getting absolutely destroyed for what happened with COVID-19. And they were actually having to report accurate and true news about what he was doing in New York. I remember when all this reporting was coming out, all of a sudden the sex scandal comes out of nowhere. It's a distraction. They're trying to distract you all from what he did with COVID in those nursing homes. You don't want to talk about that. Then you got to admit the whole thing was bullshit. I'm telling you, when I heard my husband say that, I'm like, bro, come on. I don't care what Hillary got involved with. She's a liar too.
That's right. No, it's a game. It's just like, I think the most perfect and obvious example of how they have these issues locked and loaded is, and I said it, I called it when it came out about when Nancy was getting dogged for the mask off situation in San Francisco, and then they pulled the Trump was insulting the troops, saying that the troops are losers. That was a non-time sensitive. 2 years ago, they had that locked and loaded ready. Here's a diversionary crisis. I would bet you that they got 10 crises for every single governor locked up, loaded, ready to pop at any time that there's anything that actually is significant. How much you want to bet they already got one for Whitmer when people coming for her? Because I guarantee you they do. So it's like like I said, they're 10 steps ahead of us. We're tripping over ourselves talking about this shit that's like inconsequential. They're goosing us. That's what I'm saying. It's like, that's the thing that I'm trying to get ahead of, is like, they are literally outsmarting us, and this is yet another perfect example. Like, we're talking about that instead of the thing that actually matters,
Like, when he murdered or allegedly murdered people. That's right. And I agree. And I think this is why, to me, this is what I was trying to get at, that it's kind of shocking. It was almost like this crisis was set up to allow him to quietly bow out. Like, the Democrats are like, oh, he needs to bow out. Even his own constituents, like, he needs to bow out. I'm shocked that he did not take the opportunity to leave quietly over sexual harassment instead of, to me, what's blatant murder. Like, I think it's shocking.
It is.
You know what Americans are going to remember? Sex scandal.
Yep.
Not murder.
Well, that could be why. I mean, again, it's like, let's not remember, or let's not forget, if they were smart enough to do all of these super elaborate, super incredible, amazing things and to completely goose everybody, and they got all this shit locked and loaded, I would wager that this is, again, part of the strategy. They're like, let's just keep him in there. He's keeping the heat off everybody else. He can be the scapegoat. Meanwhile, homie's selling books. He's getting press. He's already in with Joey Baseman already. Even if he did step down once it starts to cool off, it's not like Joey Baseman couldn't bring him in later. I mean, he was going to be the attorney general, for Christ's sake. He could bring him in at any time. They could just be like, yo, we're going to put you on the shelf and cool you off for a little bit. Krusty will come in, and then he'll be something else. I mean, I think this is all part of the strategy. I literally do think that they're like 10 steps ahead.
So I got a question before we end. I've got a question for everybody. We all know that Kamala is going to be the president. We're just waiting.
Yep.
Who is going to be her VP? I'll give my 3 picks: Clinton, Obama, and Pelosi.
Well, if she assumes the role of the presidency, isn't it just Pelosi by default?
No, she has the opportunity to choose, and the Senate will vote on who
really?
the VP will be.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Right. If something happened to her and Biden, then that's when Nancy would step up.
Oh, I didn't know that. Who were your picks again?
Obama, Clinton, and Pelosi.
You mean Michelle Obama? Because it can't be Barack.
Why not?
Because
He's a private citizen.
No,
Doesn't
he was
matter.
already the president for 8 years. He can't be the vice president.
You sure?
Yeah, there's multiple people that have been vice president and became president for a term or two.
Yeah.
But you can go backwards like that?
I've always thought you could. We might have to look this one up.
If you can be president, if you can be vice president and then become president, I don't see why you can't be president and then become vice president.
I could be wrong.
I don't think you can, because in the event that the president was to get shot, for example, then you would become the president, but you couldn't because you were already the president. I'm pretty sure. I don't think you can do that.
Yeah, he can't do more than 2 terms. So if he served 1 term, he could probably do it, but he served 2 and he's not eligible to be VP.
That's what I'm saying.
I'll give it to Michelle. I will give it to Michelle because Obama is her husband. Let's
Big
just
Mike.
call it spade. So Michelle, Pelosi, or Clinton. What do you guys think?
It's a gnarly question. I think Pelosi, Clinton, and then for the third, like we talked about the Obamas. I was literally thinking about Barack, but it sounds like we're being corrected, and I may be wrong. But yeah, could it be Michelle? Absolutely. People like her for some ungodly reason.
I personally would think that I would think that they would pull somebody from somewhere else internally and then reappoint that position. I would think you'd get like a Susan Rice or like somebody that's already in the cabinet, somebody that like everybody already knows and like that we already know is a piece of crap, but that they would pull in. I could see like a Susan Rice or something of that caliber personally, or maybe a dude just to fucking, you know what I mean? Like Cory Booker or some shit. Like, she's in with Cory Booker. I know, but I'm just saying, like, I could see it with like a dude second would be like a good optic. It's like woman winning instead of 2 women, like a takeover.
Yeah.
I could see it just being like.
You're right. I didn't even think about that angle because we got to beat men down.
Exactly.
I didn't think about that angle. That's a good one.
And no one's a better.
Now I got to think about it differently.
And no one's a better simp than fucking Cory Booker. So it'd be perfect.
What about Newsom now?
Rachel Levine.
Newsom.
Rachel Levine.
He's white. He's too white. You can't.
He's got too much heat. Too much heat.
He's too white.
He's too white. You can't have that dude. No, I think I see it's. I'd say it's. My bet would be like Cory Booker, who's like the worst, like just the worst ever. But I could see Cory Booker or Susan Rice or someone of comparable.
Man,
that's ugly in so many different ways.
For sure.
You gotta give your picks, Russo. What do you think?
I think Cory Booker is probably the smartest one and out of that group in terms of where not the smartest. Sorry, that's a bad choice of words. Probably, I would say most likely would be Cory Booker. Is he? Who's dating AOC?
I don't know.
Beto.
Pete Buttigieg.
Booty gang.
I think AOC's dating some. Maybe it's not Cory Booker. I don't know.
No, AOC is dating like a random white dude.
Really?
Yeah.
From Israel.
Yeah.
No.
White men in this country are deadly though, but she can date.
Oh
one.
no, Cory Booker's the one dating the celebrity. Never mind.
Yeah, he's dating Rosario Dawson.
Yeah.
Oh God, Lord help us all.
I honestly, I have no idea what they would do. Honestly, I would not put it past them to have Pelosi also, even though that she's the predecessor. If they both, I wouldn't be completely against. They might just say the natural progression of it. I don't know. I don't know what they'll do. I have no idea. Who knows?
I don't know.
I can't wait to see.
I'd say Cory Booker would be my assumption because it's
look, me and Bob, we should do a whole broadcast just flipping the fuck out once they pick.
It's gonna happen. It's obviously gonna happen. Like this is more than obvious. Like Joe is deceased. Like it's more than obvious.
We should do it because I already have my date picked out. We should do squares. We should do like Super Bowl squares of when he's going to be out. My date, I've already called it. Period. By May 15th, he's gone.
May 15th of next year.
This year.
20. I think it's coming quicker than we think.
No, I don't think so. My guess was like the beginning of like the end of spring next year, he just like goes to pasture and he's just like, nah, right. I want my grandchild. No, I think that they're going to keep him in. I think they're going to make it look like he's in long enough. He may be out in May 15th, but they're going to puppet him around for 12 months. I think that they got to give him a year.
What's your date? I
would say by probably like June 1st of next year. It'll be crusty. June, like crusty officially. Because the guy's dead. Like, give him the summer. You know, he lives in Delaware. No, he'll wait till it warms up. He's dead. Like, he'll go to the beach house. I'm saying by next summer they're gonna get him. They're gonna pump him through this year, and then I think it's crusty by the end of the spring. That may be giving him too much, but I think that I would say if I had to bet 100% chance, I would say by then.
He's already Patrick Swayze in Ghost. He's already going through, microphones. His head's disappearing against wall.
Yeah, he's deceased.
Tony, what's your date?
I don't think he's got a year. Just looking at him, he's deteriorating. He's not in the White House. He's in Delaware, like you said. I'll give him till fall.
Don't be vague.
Because Kamala
That's a
Harris,
vague ass date. Give a date. We
Vague.
got June 1st.
August.
Next year.
I will give it
it's
till
May
I will give
15th.
August. Look, I'll give my dad's birthday, August 18th. I think he's going to be done by August. He's not making any speeches. He's not talking to world leaders. He's not doing shit. He's not doing nothing.
Yeah.
How long can you run a country when the president is not being the president? I'm just thinking about it from that aspect and how world leaders are going to be looking at us, and they have to find a way to remain America. I'll give it to August this year because he's gone.
Casey, last one.
So-
What do you think?
She kind of stole a little bit of mine because I was going to say a little bit into August. So I'm going to back mine up a bit.
Damn, we got 2023.
What? 2023? He'll be.
He will probably be disintegrating by then.
Yeah.
So August 21st, August 21st was going to be my date, but I don't want to be that close to SUNY, so I'm going to separate it. I'm going to say August 1st, because just to separate a bit and just look at him like this. We got to fake all this garbage that's going on with him right now. No. And you asked me 2 months ago, like, would Joe Biden make it? And I would have been like, yeah, we'd probably get a couple years. No, not anymore.
That man is out of there.
He's gone. He's gone.
We also
is open, but
have COVID at any time. We could always throw COVID at any. Like, we know that could be thrown in on him at any given moment. So
don't you guys
he's got Alzheimer's? So why doesn't he have it?
You guys saw the clip where he said if he ever fought with Kamala as his VP, he will claim illness and just be gone.
He did. He told us all. Joe Biden's been snitching on himself since the beginning of time. Sorry.
That's a true statement right there.
All right. Well, we're going to wrap it up. The one thing before we do everybody's final comments, I laughed because there was just like the Facebook. Do you have a fucked up name for Facebook, Bobby? You got your nicknames. Do you call, you got Big Blue, you got the dehydrated owl. Do you have a joke for Facebook?
No, I love Facebook. Appreciate Facebook. No, I just call. Yeah, no, I try not to. I try to. I just call it the Book of Faces. I don't know. I don't have a name for it. Look. I'll tell you this. Like, I'm an internet person. I've been an internet professional for 13 years. I love the internet. We want to. I understand it's like Zuck. He's a whatever, an alien, whatever. Everyone says all these terrible, evil, bad things. Yes, they suppress conservatives. The guy's not the only one that works there. Let's not forget that. I invested a lot in Facebook stock because I believe in it as a platform. Quite frankly, we're using it to distribute and grow our platforms. They're allowing the message to spread. In theory, it's a private business. He could clap us at any time he wants. As much as I hate to admit it, that is the truth. So it's like, I don't have qualms with it. I don't agree with everything that they do, but you can't deny the fact that it's like, it's a powerful business. It's a successful business. My stock has done well. And it's not about my stock. That's what's not what it's about. It's just that, like, if we were to look at every single business as like, I disagree with something, therefore I can't use it, you couldn't do anything. There's so many evil things that all corporations do. It's just where you draw the line. So I don't have qualms with Facebook. I wish they did a lot of things differently, but like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, he's a demon. Like, I just don't know that that's productive. It's like we're using it, we're broadcasting it, it's providing us value. My videos on Facebook are monetized. My Instagram account is monetized. Like, and it's not about the money. It's just that like it's like again, it's like about prioritizing. So like I don't have qualms with Facebook. I just want the book of faces.
I agree. We're growing our platform. This is being broadcast on Facebook. I think the general idea of Facebook is absolutely brilliant, but I think it is, to me, one of the three biggest things that have caused all the problems in this country. And the example I had was just the independent fact checker stuff. There was somebody that just posted a Trump in office, Biden in office gas receipt, and it was slapped with a bunch of missing context, independent fact checkers, gas, and it shows an article, gas prices are up on renewed crude oil demand, not U.S. policy, which is technically, go ahead, Bobby, go ahead.
Please keep in mind that Facebook did not have those fact checkers until they were pressured by Democrats. All of the stuff was under threat of government control. They did that as a defense measure against Democrats in the government saying that they were going to break them up. He tried to not do that, and they forced his hand. Are the fact checkers garbage? Absolutely. But he made a strategic business decision to get them off his ass, and they just so happened to control all of the fact-checking companies. But they were pressuring him. And here's the other thing to remember. The vast majority of large corporations lean to the left. The vast majority of large corporations finance the business. So if all the corporations lean that way and say, follow these rules or we won't pay you, if all the government people lean to the left and they say, follow these rules, they literally, in a lot of ways, didn't have a chance to afford to protect their business. So I would wager that it's a lot less their fault and a lot more the people that we don't like. It's like
it's become weaponized. 100%, it's been weaponized.
But I don't think it's not like Zuckerberg's just like
I never said I never said that. I agree with that. I mean, I think there's some fucked up parts about Zuckerberg, but I think what I always say, if I can't prove it, then I don't, slam it. But what I can prove is that Facebook is causing some serious issues because it's been weaponized. I was gonna go, but Casey's got a fight going on in the side with David Gomez, and he was challenged to say 3 things of why he loves Biden so much, and he defeated the coronavirus.
He owed me a response in Sunni's chat, and I said, dude, you owe me a response. Like
you really, this dude, the homeboy really thinks that Biden defeated the coronavirus.
Right.
This has to be a joke, right?
No. Well, this guy's a troll. And he asked me 3 things that I believe Trump did wrong, and I gave him 3 things Trump did wrong, in my opinion. And I gave it to him. And I was like, now you owe me the 3 things that Biden did great. And he still can't give me any specifics.
He did. They just aren't true. Anyways, all right, let's wrap up the show. We got to get out of here. Let's have Casey. You give your last words first.
Last words, like we showed at the very beginning of the show, guys. The microphone stuff, like pay attention to those things, but like Bobby called out all show, let's not get caught up in it, but know when you're being lied to. That's an important thing. And that's kind of where I was thinking, but Bobby's just was all in, and I was like, yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense. So I changed my stance a little bit more to be, hey, let's just make sure we call it out. Everybody knows, let's move on. Focus on what's really important. As most people have been seeing today, guns are super important to me right now. Like HR 8 and HR 1447, big deals. If they pass the Senate, it's going to make it very difficult for us to own guns. But unite, don't fight.
Holla. Sunni, go ahead.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm excited to get out here and do something. Like, I'm excited that we're in talks to go on college campuses, because that's where my focus is the youth. They've got 1,000 different things coming at them, and we can use this vehicle of Facebook, Instagram. As much as I don't like Twitter, that's where the youth is. We can use those vehicles to actually reach them. And I mean, just think about it, like a collaborative effort of amazing influencers actually coming together to change something. I think we can make our mark. It's just people coming together and actually working. This shit is work. It's work. It's fun, but it's work. So if we can come together and not force thought or provoke thought, and make Americans think again by asking questions that you have to actually think about before you answer them, I think a lot can change. 100%. So make America think again.
Bobby, you're up next. I do want to say, I don't know if you saw last night's show. We had a girl she was from Boise State. She's in Turning Point in her own college, and we see a little opportunity because some people, some of the ultra conservative celebs of the world charge a lot of money, like Brandon Tatum, to come to college campuses. But to actually be able to start working with college campuses might be a great path for our group. But yeah, we had a cool talk. Anyways, Bobby, last words, buddy.
I'm down for it. Prioritize your time and attention to focus on the things that matter the most. Talk about the things that are going to be the highest things that are going to move the needle, and don't get caught in the trap, because I think that, like I said, there's a lot of really important things that are being missed by not paying attention to the high level items. I think that prioritization of your time and attention is key. And same when it goes to what you decide to distribute out, whether you're distributing it to 5 people or 5,000 people or 50,000 people, prioritizing that is going to be key, because they know how to throw us off the trail, and it's been made more than obvious. For the person that asked where to follow me, at Take Naps on Instagram, Bobby Sausalito on Facebook and YouTube, and bobbysauce.com. All the links are in the footer.
For everybody wondering, Blake did get his dog. He's going to be okay. If anybody wants to follow, you heard Bobby. You've got Suni, the middle child. You can find her with that handle. Casey is Casey.Rasmussen on Facebook. And that's pretty much it, guys. It was a good show of ConserVengers. We always have fun with these. I know it's been a little bit of time. We will continue to do these. We're up and running with a pretty set schedule. If you guys want to, if you miss any of our shows, like, for example, I know YouTube or Facebook took down half of our show last night, or actually the whole thing, because we ran a video clip for 23 seconds, apparently 23 seconds too long. You can always check out the podcast, #BeTheChange.com/podcast. We've got 2 new ones coming up. We've got a woman by the name of Emily Nicole that's going to be doing Questions Unraveled, kind of looking at victim mentalities and people that have overcome. Actually, it's more about overcoming than anything else. And we've got 2 pastors. Pastor Jay, which you all know from Cash's Church, he will be teaming up with Devin Fry. We're just working on finalizing that. So we've got some great shows, and those are going to be live and then having podcasts as well. So make sure you look at that at #BeTheChange.com/podcast. With that said, guys, just start thinking again, make America think again. And also, the more you speak up, the less you feel alone, I promise you. With that said, be the change you wish to see in the world. Thank you guys for joining us right here on ConserVengers.
Don't leave.